Good. Questions and comments from the community concerning anything related to the district? Ms. Haas.
Hi, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
Good. I just have a couple of questions. First, I want to express a heartfelt thank you to everyone on the board, superintendent, all of your advocacy efforts. It really is making a difference, and it's so great to hear what you're doing and understand how we are protecting our children together. But I do have a couple of questions. The Alliance to Save Public Education, the letter, can we get access to a copy of that?
Sure, it'll be posted on the website Thursday afternoon.
And my other
You'll make sure that happens. Thank you. It'll be posted on the website.
Okay, right. My other question, I listened to what was going on in Albany, and I hear that there may be changes with the GEA and budgeting. But my other question is, was there any other indication as to what would change in the governor's reform agenda plan was there any discussion about the testing and limited testing? That was my big concern.
Mr. Kyle, you want to speak?
I mean, testing was definitely, it was spoke about, but
Not in the
Not-
terms of limiting, right?
no.
It's more budget and
and it was also like to reform the tests. Maybe look at them, and because if you're going to base the test, base APPR on these tests, the tests are flawed. So make the test more.
developmentally appropriate, align them with standards that are
Exactly.
appropriate for children.
Mm.
Okay. I'm
Can I
trying to-
just, Mrs. Haas, one additional thing, and I alluded to it before, maybe I wasn't clear. One of the very troublesome pieces of the APPR are those slows.
Right.
So there definitely was discussion about doing away with those
Okay.
and eliminating that kind of testing from the profile.
And did they have any suggestion as to how they were going to reapproach that? Like,
Well, the recommendation from the superintendent, I can tell you, but I don't know if that's going to be what comes, is to have the system be 75-25. 75% of a teacher's evaluation is based on the observation process, where you're talking about teaching and learning, and you're providing feedback, and that 25% be student test data. But again, that's juxtaposed to a governor who wants 50%. So where it ends up, we don't know, and I heard the same thing that you two heard.
So in that
more like 40.
recommendation, would that still be testing every grade 3 through 8? Like would it every year, is that in that recommendation or that wasn't really?
For us, we always talk about alternate year testing, and the response we always get, and you and I spoke about this just briefly today, is that the genesis of that is the federal government. And we need to, if we're going to reduce the testing and make it an every other year cycle, for instance, or make it a grade 4 and 8 kind of testing, that No Child Left Behind legislation has to change, because right now what's in it dictates the years that the state's providing the testing.
So as advocates and parents, who do we go to, where's our first stop to make that change?
My suggestion is to contact Steve Israel,
Okay.
who is the person who, I was at a news conference with him earlier this year when he announced his proposed legislation that he was bringing to DC to do just what you're talking about.
Okay. And my last question, I wasn't listening well enough, I guess. I heard you mention the possibility of an educational forum, maybe to discuss the governor's reform agenda. And I didn't know if you said that was something that Flanagan would be a part of, or is that something that the district would do to educate parents on what's going on? Because there are so many questions, and I think when people are misinformed, it just leads to negativity. And I think that if we inform our parents and we know what's going on, it just moves us in a positive direction.
Mrs. Stuccio or Mr. Kyler?
Mr. Kiley asked Senator Flanagan yesterday if he would be interested or open to coming to Hauppauge and hosting some kind of forums. And see, it does represent the Hauppauge School District and is the Senate Education Chairperson. And he indicated to us that he would do so, in a certain organized fashion, if the superintendent and board were on board with that.
I just want to expressing.
But I think, I think that you're asking another question as well.
Okay.
I think,
Maybe.
I could be wrong, that, that certainly would be something that would be beneficial, and if we did that, I certainly would recommend we don't limit it to Senator Flanagan, but we open it up to our other representatives to be here as well. I think what I hear you saying is, should we as a district, as an administrative team, if you will, open up an opportunity for people who want to come and talk about it, to have some kind of internal forum. That's quite different than having your meeting with your legislators. And I think that while we have not done that, that's certainly something that Mr. Eschbach and I can discuss, possibly hosting. We've done it mostly at the building levels. We haven't done it as a district level.
I would love to see it at a district level, and I just want to express my concern with having Senator Flanagan come in. There is a lot of, there's a very uneasy feeling across communities on Long Island, and I know that a lot of groups see Senator Flanagan as a target to protest, and I think that if we publicize something like that, we're asking for something that we may not want to have. So that's just a concern that I have. You may want to think about that, because it is something to think about before you plan something like that. Maybe thinking more of an in-house educational thing, or maybe, and listen, we all need to take the stand that we're all here, we're in this together, we're here to support each other. I just don't want to bring negativity where it's not necessary.
I think we were kind of thinking to limit that to the Hauppauge community and Hauppauge parents. I don't know how you can do that other than maybe giving them tickets or something, but we wouldn't have a controlled environment just within the community and parents, where he could actually tell you exactly what's going on up there.
Right, and you know, okay, we'll think about it. I'll think about it and put it in writing, why I feel one way or the other, or, you know, I'll discuss it with a lot of community members and just see how they feel and see how they can help them. It's just a concern.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, would you mind approaching the microphone, please? Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Mrs. Mehta. I know I have been absent for the board for a couple of years, but I have 2 kids. One of them has been a freshman this year and is in Northwestern University. And the second one is a middle schooler, who is a 6th grader. I just have a couple of questions and requests. Sorry about that. The superintendent did mention about the mock trial in the high school. And I know a lot of years ago we had that in the middle school too. It's a wonderful program, and I would love to see it as a club in the middle school, if it's possible. Secondly, I was not aware as to how the funding of the club is coming from, or how it exactly allocate funds for the clubs. If somebody can talk about that, I would appreciate it.
Yes, each of our schools has an allocation for advisorships within their building budget. And in the case of the high school, the principal evaluates the clubs on an annual basis. Sometimes we have clubs that run, but we really don't have much participation, Mrs. Maida, in them. And so they may not run the following year. So the money is either shifted to a new club and or redistributed from existing clubs to reduce certain hours in one club, maybe to support an additional club. But it really is a building-based discussion and decision.
It's basically the budget of the business, building administration, for example, middle school to high school.
Correct.
And it is within the principal's trying to allocate the funds for clubs as required.
Correct.
Okay, thank you very much. I just have one more question, a quick one. You did say, talking about the support for kids for the alternate pathway. I know that in the high school we do have a self-select policy for educational programs. Is that policy even applicable to our students in the middle school?
Yes, it is. You can self-select into the enrichment or honors courses within the middle school, and acceleration courses.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments from the community concerning anything related to the district? Ms. Rowe?
This microphone doesn't work very well.
We have a replacement.
Pardon me?
I have a replacement. I got to.
Oh, okay, because we couldn't hear anything. All right, I just want to read a statement. At the Tuesday, February 24th board meeting, the extension of Mrs. Chris' contract was defeated by a vote of 3 to 4 without any reason given. Why that action was mind-boggling. Mrs. Chris has been instrumental in bringing new programs and change to our district. To name a few, the IB program and the elementary language program, which we all experienced at the previous board meeting. And she puts a lot of emphasis on mandated issues. These additions have made Hauppauge a more desirable place to live. Seeing how the vote was 3 to 4 does not surprise me. This seems the way the 4 of you have voted all year. A search for a new superintendent must now proceed. What will the qualifications be that you'll be looking for? And I'm sure Mrs. Chris already has all of those. So what the reason is for looking at a new one, I have no idea. It's just a waste of time, effort, and money. My guess is you'll be looking for someone who will vouch for every win and one you can control. It is unbelievable that such a monumental action was taken in such a manner. With respect to your policy of not discussing personnel in public, you have been elected to the school board by us as community members, and we deserve an answer. All our budgets have been passed with Mrs. Chris at the helm, so that can't be a reason for not hiring her. And I think we as community members deserve an answer, not just your negative vote which you gave that night and nothing being said. Thank you. Oh, one more thing. You accepted Mrs. Sherwood's retirement, who's been here 31 years. She's here tonight. So I thought maybe I'd mention it.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Charlie.
Thank you, Mrs. Rowe. Mrs. Chernowitz, who's here, we'd like to, we have accepted your retirement. We want to wish you all the best in your future, and thank you so much for all the years of service you put forth in the Hauppauge School District for our children. Thank you.
And to know you'll be officially invited to a board meeting in June to be recognized.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to respond to Ms. Rowe, since you asked a direct question. I will give you a very direct answer. Before I get there, I would like to make one mention of an action that you undertook at our last meeting, which I found, quite honestly, deplorable. On your way out, you cursed at me, or cursed me out, I should say, in front of a middle school teacher in this district.
I wouldn't say
Though we may, sorry?
I was not a curse. You got to be kidding. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Regardless of how we may feel about issues, though we may disagree about substantial issues, I do believe that there's always the call for decorum and civility. I don't believe you showed me that, and I know I wasn't the only one that was cursed at or spoken to in the manner which you did, but moving on. What?
I said, should we get emails with decorum and civility?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
You know, coming out.
I'm sure you'll be in charge.
That would be something that would be well worth your time on the board. But anyway, hang on a second. Concerning, since you brought it up, Ms. Rowe, I don't mind giving you my reasons for, my personal reasons for voting against the extension of Ms. Chris's contract. And they're relatively simple. One is, I think we can do better as a district. I do believe that our kids underperform compared to surrounding districts of likewise socioeconomic status. Two, I believe that the cost that we pay for our superintendent as opposed to the surrounding districts is so out of whack, so much higher than the surrounding districts. And I can give you the stats if you want. And I doubt you even know them, but maybe you do, okay? And these two issues in my mind transect, because if we were outperforming the surrounding districts, I wouldn't mind paying much more for our superintendent, but we're not, okay? And this was my judgment as an elected official, and this is my opinion. Now, the remaining members of the board can tell you why, if they want, why they voted for or against, okay? But those are my reasons. Are they clear to you? Cost and performance. I want to make sure that I'm being clear and that you don't leave here without an explanation that doesn't satisfy you, but at least you understand.
I appreciate you at least explaining your action.
Those are the two reasons.
Thank you.
Okay? To the extent that any other board members want to give their reasons, that's their prerogative. I'm not speaking on behalf of the board, I'm giving you my personal reasons why I voted against Ms. Chris' extension. Now, let it be clear that I do think that Ms. Chris has done a good job while she's here. She's been a solid steward for the district during very tough times. Like you said, the budget's been great, we've had great support from our community. Do I think we can do better? I do. And as we go along with the tax cap and the increases in these fixed costs that we talked about, that I asked James about, there are tough decisions that are going to have to be made. And this was the first of probably many that I'm not scared to make, and that I believe I was elected to make, and I'm confident in why I voted the way I did, and I will stand by it. Okay? Any other questions from the community concerning anything related to the district? Thank you. Seeing none, our next meeting is March 24th, which is our final budget workshop in which we will be discussing instruction, transportation, and capital, and there will also be a board discussion concerning the budget in general. I will entertain a motion for, I don't think we have anything left for executive session, so motion to adjourn. Thank you, Mr. Scarito and Mr. Kiley. Mr. Fortmeyer for the second. All those in favor? I'm sorry, discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you.
Let's stop.